Good afternoon, students. Rather, it's evening now. And welcome back to yet another energetic session, which has a beautiful journey to share. A young entrepreneur who is with us and is going to share his exciting journey, that how he gave a shape to his idea. I'm very happy to welcome amongst us Mr. Shriyans Bhandari, co-founder GreenSole. Mr. Shriyans is an ardent marathon runner who ran in 85 long-distance races. He started as an athlete from Mumbai and ran hundreds of kilometers each year, and in this process, he went through several pairs of sport shoes. He noticed wasted sneakers that had no future life, just increasing the pollution. This passion gave him a unique business idea of using the used shoes. In 2015, Mr. Shriyans and his friend Ramesh Dhami decided to recycle old footwear and founded GreenSole. He has donated lakhs of pairs of slippers to poor children. His startup GreenSole recycles the used shoes and molds them into new slippers. This brand is doing really powerful and meaningful things which shall inspire all of us present here today. They provide footwear to the children in need and empower women through their skill centers, recycle discarded shoes to make comfortable footwear, keep the old-fashioned footwear from going into the landfills. They retain eco-friendly footwear towards building a self-sustaining social venture. And you would be amazed to know that they're running a skill center as well, where they train, skill, and employ underprivileged people. I think we have a man amongst us who has truly meaningful journey to share with all of us here. Let us welcome Mr. Shriyans Bhandari and let's know about his journey.
Hello, a very good evening.
Good evening, sir. First of all, welcome to ABS. And I think our students are very, very excited to know about this enriching journey of yours.
Sure, I'll just start right away. If you can allow the screen share. Yeah.
Sure, we would do that. Yes.
Is the presentation visible?
Yes, that's visible to us.
Okay. So, very exciting to be here with a young group of students. And this is where we also started as college students. We like running was my passion, and later earlier photography also. And it is through my passion that I built a startup. So you all are at a very crucial stage where you have to choose a career. Like you'll be joining a college, but in process of this, you'll also be choosing your what you'll be doing later on. So it's a very critical period, and hope through my story you can get some idea of how we went about it, and if that can help you. So GreenSole is basically into recycling of shoes and apparel into slippers and other products. I was earlier a photographer. I wrote a book on birds of Aravallis, and I not just clicked pictures, but I also made a book and published it. So that gave me some entrepreneurship experience at a very early stage, because you have to format a book, publish it, look into the sales, costing, and everything. So I did it at the age of 16. So that was a very like my first entrepreneurship experience, you can say. Apart from photography, I was also I was a professional runner, used to run marathons, and these were two hobbies of mine, photography and athletics. And photography led to the book, and running led to the idea of GreenSole. I'm also a graduate from Babson College in Boston. So that's my overall introduction. I also run Heritage Girls School in Udaipur. That's a girls boarding school. So I look into like a startup as well as a like a boarding school. So some people say, you can do either a startup or your family business, but I've been able to do both. So that you can easily choose to do multitasking. That is what trying to point out at. And in our story, we basically, as athletes, we were really tired of throwing away these old pairs of shoes. They just used to go in dustbins. So we thought, how we can utilize them in a better manner. So we started thinking about the problem. We started discussing of how we can use these old shoes. And this is the first prototype we came up with. You can see we've used like a sole of the shoe, tire tubes, a basic prototype. We just imagined what a slipper will look like and molded the shoe into a slipper. Because, somewhere we know that, okay, the shoe we have used for running, but what after that? You can give to your maid servants, but, there's no further use. It goes to landfill. So that's where we started working on those shoes and came up with this first prototype. Then later we discovered that it's not just our problem, but a global problem where millions of shoes go to landfills while billions of people don't have a pair of footwear. People are using plastic bottles also as footwear in Africa, and India also the condition is not really better. So there's a clear difference where shoes are going to landfills, but people don't have a pair of footwear. So we are like a bridge where we recycle these shoes and provide it to the right people. So that's what GreenSole does, and we didn't stop at just the idea. That is what we do at times, where we get an idea, but we can't gather the courage to get started. So we were really excited, and we just took it as a project. And at the age of 19, we were okay, we have this idea. Let us take this further. So that initiative, that first step is really important if you want to start your entrepreneurship journey, because no one is going to spoon feed you as to how you can take the next step, how you'll find your customers, how you'll make the product. Everything has to come from you. Like, we were a two people team, me and my co-founder Ramesh, when we were starting off. So you have to find a factory where you'll make prototypes, uh, learn the technology, find customers, all at the same time. It's also a great learning period. And even if you don't want to take up entrepreneurship as a career, I do suggest that whatever idea you have, do implement it. That will itself be a great learning process, whether you take it up later in your life or not. So that was our next step. We took up a small unit uh, and started refurbishing few pairs of footwear. Later, we tied up with Ram Fashion Exports, which is a one of the largest exporters of footwear in Western India. They have about 1,000 employees working under them. So from a very small skill center, workshop, we moved into a very big factory. That gave us like a back-end strength to really execute this venture and recycle at a very big scale. So we are recycling about from one pair uh, in 2015, we are recycling about 1.5 lakh pairs of shoes each year. We also into retail now, and we started apparel also in terms of sales as well as CSR. And this is our main concept, that people can buy vegan sustainable footwear from us, and our brand also contributes at the same time to refurbishing and donating footwear to people in need. So we are doing environmental good by recycling, social good by donating, and we are doing all this while being a profitable venture. So we are sending out a message that if we can do it, any brand should be able to do it, should be able to be as focused on the environment and the society while being a for-profit venture. And that is what essentially a social entrepreneur is. Take care of society, environment, plus your product should be uh, good for the market. We also have a skill center, that is our third pillar, which is social, economic, and environmental. So this is the economic pillar, where we employ people from tribal communities into refurbishing the old pair of footwear and donating them. And we have two business models. One is doing recycling as a service for biggest of footwear brands, apparel brands. CSR for corporates, and doing retail to customers, B2B and otherwise. So these three things that POS GreenSole does, and we are into like you started with just shoes, now we are into apparel also. So these are the two segments and three verticals we work in. This is from one of our donation drives in Maharashtra, a pre-COVID donation drive. Now it's in much smaller groups, but we are continuing our work. We are donating masks also in our donation drives, and you can see, the footwear we later came to know helped the students go to walk to schools also. So it added like an education part also, where students had a better attendance in school because of getting these pairs of footwear. So, one part of GreenSole is like being on the ground and doing duration drive. And on the other part, we were also on the ramp walk of Lakme Fashion Week with Abraham and Thakur. So all the footwear are, of sustainable materials, and we co-branded with them. And Adidas is one of our CSR partners. So we recycle old shoes and apparel for Adidas. So they displayed this in few of the stores in India. So these are the two contrasts of GreenSole. And as I pointed out earlier, we were into, corporate partners, recycling partners, and like retail sales. We also received appreciation letters from President Obama and Sir Ratan Tata. And sometimes it seems, these people must be unreachable, but it's really the thought and the initiative behind it that, I thought we were doing something good, and I was in US at that time, and thought that why not, I should write to President Obama. So I wrote a letter to him, gifted him a copy of my book, and we got a signed reply back. And we are also in touch, trying to get in touch with such people now, so that we can recycle footwear and auction them. So it's really not as tough, if you are ready to take the initiative, ready to get out there and implement your idea. Everything is really possible. If you see any, success stories in business or otherwise, it's all the effort and the long term vision that is needed. Like we started in 2015, so almost 6-7 years now. So it takes a long period of time to get to a place. So just keep working and implementing your idea. We won several awards also, were in the Forbes Asia list, represented all the social startups in entire Asia, and Lexus Design Award, DBS, and a lot of other awards have come our way. But that really doesn't, you know, uh, we just keep working and these things happen. But these are not like, we don't work for that we can get media coverage or this. You work hard, and the fame, money, everything will follow you. So just get started on your idea, and it has a lot of benefit from teaching you how to do entrepreneurship, how to set up a business. You'll develop yourself as a person. You develop qualities like leadership, resourcefulness. So that is what I really encourage, and I encourage the college also. They must be already. This is a good step where they're doing a lecture series, but further than that, they can do, maybe do a factory visit with GreenSole, uh, take students on the field, help them implement their idea, and a lot of other things. I've also published a book, Lessons of a Curious Soul, which is on the story of GreenSole. So feel free to look it up. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm open to any questions, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shrans. Truly a short story, but sounds very interesting to us because it is actually working on various levels. It is not just a profitable enterprise, but an enterprise which is trying to make a difference in the society through, changing the thought process of the people towards business and towards work together. So we have a couple of questions here. One common question comes to a student's mind who's wishing to, start a business in future is, will we require a big investment? in the starting to start any kind of a business?
No, we started with a very small amount of just 10 lakh rupees. And
Mm-hmm.
that also we got from winning two business plan competitions. One was at IIT Bombay, and the second one was at Nagpur. So 5
Mm-hmm.
lakh came from there, and then we were able to convince our family to support this initiative. That also we had some, we had some proof that okay, we are recycling, donating.
Right.
So that's how they trusted us. So you can start with a very small amount,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how things start. Nothing is a barrier. Idea is not a barrier. You can take an idea from the market and improvise on it. Funding is not a
Right.
barrier. You can start with a very small capital. Only you should be willing to start. That's all I think.
Right. So, student is asking here that what were the major challenges you faced in the journey of GreenSole and how did you cope with those?
So we didn't have any technical challenge. We didn't frame it as a challenge. We
Mm-hmm.
just took it, as I earlier said, that we were very young individuals, 19-year-old. So we just took it as a project and okay, problem is happening, let's solve it and move forward. So we
Mm-hmm.
had various, day-to-day problems like we don't know how to recycle. We are first in entrepreneurship. We don't know how to hire a factory or outsource things. No technical know-how, but
Mm-hmm.
we took it in a very exciting manner and we faced all problems possible, but we kept solving them. And at times we felt like okay, we can give up also because college is getting over 1 year into GreenSole, and okay,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat progress has happened, but somehow we kept on going and stuck to the larger vision that okay, we are serving to the society, doing good for the environment, and within 1 year the progress we've made is not bad also. So we have at
Right.
least covered some way, so that's what kept us going. And the earlier you start, the better. That's what I'd suggest.
Right. So, your firm GreenSole has made a great social impact. How do you see recycling and upcycling as an important aspect of entrepreneurship?
We do see a lot of businesses focus on upcycling, waste management nowadays,
Right.
and society does need a lot of such startups which can, because of fast fashion marketing, things are going waste. So reusing them is quite essential,
Mm-hmm.
and people are also appreciating it, country also needs it, and brands also realized and are moving towards sustainability in all sectors. If it's
Right.
footwear, you'll see sustainable vegan footwear now, that
Mm-hmm.
all brands are coming up with.
Mm-hmm.
If you see factories, they're trying to move to zero carbon emissions.
Right.
So we do see a lot of interest in this.
Yeah.
Again.
And I think of late, recently in the fashion industry as well, people are trying to be very sustainable with the choices of production,
Yeah.
raw material, etc. And we've seen premium brands or luxury brands as well investing in this market. So would it be a good idea to start with something, as a business idea? Startup should start with this as their centerpiece, that we would work only on recycling, and will it actually prove to be profitable in terms of business making?
Yeah, it can. Because if you see in Europe, US, they're big recyclers and they're big companies, even public
Right.
listed companies.
Mm-hmm.
These things can be done at scale. Like as of now in India, we are the only one who's recycling, like upcycling apparel and footwear. So,
Right.
there's enough scope for us also to grow in this sector and for others also to step in and take a much larger role of handling other things also in recycling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it is possible. It's being done in other countries, and in India also, it's much required now.
Right. Right. So usually students are very fearful of getting into the entrepreneurial journey, which stops them, and they take a safer route of getting into the corporate and probably working for years and then think of getting into a business. So if you compare the two routes, what are the advantages and disadvantages attached to these?
I think overall in corporate also you'll have to struggle a lot. So better
Mhm.
to struggle at what you like doing and something of your own. You get to learn a lot more, you get a lot more independence, and it's not as risky as it sounds, or
Mhm.
as uh, 1 in 10 startups do make it, because the other 9 are just too lazy, or they're not putting enough effort, but that it's still a decent ratio. So people should not be afraid, and as I said, the earlier you start the better, so that
Mhm.
taking the risk will be easier. Like we were in college, so at that time there was not any pressure of taking up anything, so we started early and had some progress, so we were able to catch on to it. And the starting is really tough, but do get started. It's a risk worth taking. That's what I'll suggest. And that later never comes. You can never say that within 10 years you'll be done with the corporate job and you'll have enough skill at that time to start the venture. That time you will have a family also. I don't know. So, liabilities and responsibilities keep on adding as you grow. So the earlier you start, and in the markets also people say, don't time the market. You can't
Mhm.
time it. So in entrepreneurship also you can't time it. You just have to get into it as and when you have the idea.
Right. Right. So the biggest challenge for a startup is to find investments initially, or the sources who can, trust in you and invest in your business. So how can a student develop that confidence to fetch in investors, and what is the route for that?
At the starting stage, a lot of investments are not needed. I think your investment of time and commitment into the startup is what is most important at an
Knowledge.
early stage. And
Mhm.
you can start with a small sum of money also. What
Mhm.
is difficult is to get customers. If you get into a revenue stage, then you will not need uh, like an artificial support of investment.
Mhm.
Investment is more useful when it comes at a later stage, when you're really stable and you want to grow the business. You're sure that this is the product, customers are accepting it. That is the time you give your equity and get investment. So
Mhm.
start with a small amount of capital, whatever you have, develop a product, sell it to find customers for your product. That is the key.
Mhm. Right. Right.
Then you will not talk about investment, because you will start getting revenue. It will become a business, right? You are getting customers, you have the product. Investors
That
will,
would come in
yeah,
rotation then.
exactly.
Right. So going from bootstrapping to finding the angel investor, what are the critical aspects a budding entrepreneur must keep into consideration?
They must have a healthy business, like
Mm-hmm.
per unit, you should be making a profit. Or if you are making a loss, you should have a justification that, okay, you are able to add 100 more customers and later on they'll be profitable. So that
Mm-hmm.
clarity on numbers is very much required by an investor. They
Mm-hmm.
also need scalability, that you are at this stage now. Can this be easily scalable? And
Mm-hmm.
the third point they'll consider is new entrants. How much have you invested in it? How much time you have invested in it? How unique is the idea? And is it easy for competitors to get in or not? So these three
Right.
things, if you think about and work upon, will be easy for
Right.
you to get investment at whatever stage.
Great. So, what should be the approach in various phases of the entrepreneurial journey? And if you can specifically target on each stages, the seed stage, post seed stage, expansion, and exit stage.
These stages are mostly for in VC. For
Mm-hmm.
an entrepreneur, there's only one stage, and build something which lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't think of an exit when you are
Right.
starting off. For
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, only goal will be build something that will last, that will innovate itself when the
Mm-hmm.
times change, that will weather bad times like we had COVID. So these things you have to think about and build a good product or service.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So a student has posted a question here live that as you won the IIT Bombay Eureka competition and the REDA National Business Plan in your initial days, so what advice you want to give to a student who is planning to make a business plan, and how can he ensure sustainability of that plan?
So business plan competitions are good in the first year to get some capital. It's not a bad idea, and you need something unique. Uh, when you are making a business plan, your idea should be unique and should stand out. And the three things which I said for an investor apply in this plan also, that at least, here it will be easier for you to write
Mm-hmm.
it on paper. Later, whether you can do it or not, but
Yeah.
here you have to on paper find out how you'll be profitable per unit, how you
Mm-hmm.
um how you'll capture the market, how you'll scale it up. So whatever I had said earlier for investment, you have to write it down in terms of a plan. The things remain same, and uniqueness of an idea is something which will be considered at a very initial stage. Your idea should be catchy. If you
Right.
want to win a business plan competition, they want something unique.
Mm-hmm.
Like selling a burger can be a great business, but that will not win you a competition. But that can be a great business, but only for this stage you need something unique. That's what I'll suggest.
Right. So, what is the marketing method that you use to promote your business? The first marketing method that you used.
Content, because we do a lot of social work, so we made
Right.
content around it, and people really liked it. It went almost viral,
Mm-hmm.
and content is still a really important thing. Only the platforms have changed,
Right.
like Instagram and influencers, uh, online ads. So
Mm-hmm.
content, focus on content, good products, do
Right.
good work, I think.
Great. So there's a question again from a student here, Utkarsh. He says that he extremely loves the concept of recycling shoes and has never come across such an idea in the past. So he has two questions related to it. How did you people start gathering footwears? I mean, where all did you go and collect, or did you contact anybody for help to collect the useless shoes? And can anybody donate their footwear if they wish to onto your website?
Uh, yeah. So initially we started collecting footwear we started from Priyadarshini Park, Mumbai. That's where we got the idea. So
Okay.
from the athletes of that park, we asked them if they can donate footwear. We had put up a box. So
Mm-hmm.
one person used to get them collected. And later on, we had put up several collection centers all over India. And we have several volunteers also who collect shoes in their societies, college, schools, and then send it to us. On our website, you can, or Google also, you can find out GreenSole Navi Mumbai address. That's where you can send shoes in bulk. We do have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of collection centers in India, but at the current stage, due to COVID, they're not functional. But soon, on the website collection center page, you will find all the details. As of now, you can courier it to us on a Navi Mumbai address and
Great.
try to get shoes in bulk from around, because uh, yeah.
Right. So another question comes here that let's say we've started the entrepreneurial journey. In the starting, it is running good. But after some time, the profit starts going down and you're not making much profit. So what should be done in that situation? Should one think of an exit plan, or there are chances of expansion? What can be done?
I think each stage requires rethinking. Like what we thought in 2015 got us still here,
Mm-hmm.
but now making GreenSole into a mainstream brand, like you have
Mm-hmm.
like an Adidas or a Nike, you have GreenSole. Making it in GreenSole into that stage requires us to really rethink and reanalyze and redo things. So that's what is needed if your profits are going down, rethinking it and remodifying it. A lot of times, you can change your route, but you can't quit. I think exit is not an option when you've started entrepreneurship.
Right, right. Okay. So you are also an ardent marathon runner. How much did that contribute to the thought process of Green Soul?
A lot. My friend Ramesh also, he was actually trying to mend his pair of footwear. And I, being an athlete, was also, somewhere aware of this problem that, okay, shoes, what's happening to shoes, when we
Mm-hmm.
discard them, what happens? And that was just in my mind. And that's where I met Ramesh and, started just discussing, okay, what he's doing with his shoes and what
Right.
happens to shoes. And it was very general discussion. And then in my college there was um, like the lecturer had told us that there's a EDIA launched top 30 innovators of India, so why don't you apply there? She was telling someone. So that's where I thought, can this shoe idea become innovative somehow? So I met Ramesh
Mm-hmm.
again, we sat down on the problem. Then we figured, okay, let's refurbish it, make it into something new. That's where slippers came up, and we won that competition at EDIA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where GreenSole started. So
Great.
running definitely, and we do come across a lot of problems in our day-to-day life. But are we putting the right thought to it? Are we putting such a thought process that it can become into an idea or a uh, business thing? So that
Mm-hmm.
is, this kind of thinking and action is very much required.
Right. So you've been quoted as saying that an idea can work if you put effort into it. Basic effort is required day in and day out to turn your dream into a social enterprise. So, what could be the takeaway from that for these young minds who are listening to us right now?
Yeah, as I earliest said, that get started. Do not uh, worry too much. Do not plan too much. Do not. You need not have a perfect business plan and process or a perfect path that you will take. Just just that gut feeling is needed that this thing will work.
Mhm.
That is more than enough for you to get started, and start with a strong conviction. If you start like, okay, maybe what will happen, and if you start with such weak emotions, then definitely you will fail. But if you start with a very strong emotion that we have to succeed, and we just have to do our best into
Mhm.
floating this idea, into taking this ahead. If you start make this strong start, then definitely you can't fail. Even if you lose momentum in between, your profits are coming down, you can definitely rethink and come up again.
Right, right, great. So, what is the future of Green Soul, and do we have new projects or new initiatives on the book right now?
Yeah, we are doing a lot of new things. We started with recycling shoes and donating.
Mm-hmm.
Then we added retail to it. Then we added apparel also,
Mm-hmm.
where we can recycle and as well as retail it. We are
Mm-hmm.
looking into exports also now, and we are doing like sustainable school shoes also, and some B2B categories and vegan footwear.
Right.
Overall, our idea is to become a mainstream brand now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when you think of GreenSole, you should know, okay, we can buy shoes from there
Right.
rather than all the other options that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming that mainstream brand that comes to your mind when you think of sustainability, social cause, school shoes in
Mm-hmm.
general. That
Mm-hmm.
is what our aim is, and next 5 years is for scaling up. Like, we've done well in terms of stabilizing ourselves, spreading a word, but now it's the time for scale up.
Right. So you speaking about vegan shoes, do you feel that the choices in India or people's inclination and awareness towards these concepts going vegan in all respect, are they being more open to it? How is the Indian market reacting to such concepts?
They are slowly coming up to it. In the West, it's already developed.
Right.
In India, also, it's catching up now.
Mm-hmm.
Brands are focusing on it, people are understanding, and they're not ready to pay a premium for it. That is all. It is a good to have factor as of now.
Mm-hmm.
So, at present, in sustainability, just we have to make sure that our costings are
Oh,
not out of the roof. That's all I think. So it's
right.
slowly being accepted. Few years down the line, it will be definitely be a very common thing, and everyone will expect that you are sustainable and vegan.
Right. So we have a question here that what has been the most emotional and most exciting part of your entrepreneurial journey with GreenSole?
I think one was getting letter from President Obama in our
Mhm.
mailbox that he's also appreciating what we are doing, and being at the donation drives.
Mhm.
It's a great experience personally. Very tangibly, you're able to see that you're making a difference.
Right.
And coming in the Forbes list was also a great achievement for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, overall, we are really passionate about recycling and what we do at GreenSole.
Mhm.
So every day is exciting.
Right. So what is the market of these kind of products abroad? Are they also manufacturing such products? Do we have competitors there?
Yeah, there are a lot of brands, Toms, Allbirds, and
Mm-hmm.
in India, Neiman's, and a lot of few companies are coming up. So we are
Mm-hmm.
looking at exports. We have listed
Right.
our products in US and Europe. So people, because they're already more aware about uh,
Right.
these things.
Okay, great. So
Our
I think
major
there's
focus
lots on the cards.
major focus is still on India. Yes.
Okay, great. So that was it. I think we would wrap up the session now. First of all, I would like to thank you for gracing us with your presence and making it possible for the students to know about this journey, giving us time. I think you were traveling and then we got this opportunity to speak to you. It was a wonderful session, a brief session, but did touch upon a lot of important aspects of leadership and of entrepreneurship. How are these correlated, and what is the role of the societal impact that we can make through our business? So, on behalf of the entire ABS fraternity, I would like to present a memento to you. Can we please have the memento?
Nice. Thank you so much. It's the
That's
first
for
time
you.
seeing an E memento, so
Right.
that's great progress.
Thank
Thank
you so much. And we look forward to a very continued association with you in future as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.